It's 2022. America seems to be going into a recession, the money supply is shrinking, people are feeling the pain in their wallets, they can't spend as recklessly anymore, the American populace is starting to feel poor. And that's when you, a little-known Chinese app called TEMU, saw your opportunity. Hey, you don't have to feel poor, just shop on our app. Prices are so low you'll feel like a billionaire with how much stuff you can afford to buy.
I like it, it's mine. The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich, I feel like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I get it straight from the makers. I'm shopping like a billionaire.
It was the perfect advertising blitz at the perfect time, aimed at the deep-rooted pain of the American population. And it worked. TEMU exploded.
If you are an internet user, you'll say TEMU everywhere.
TEMU is running a deal right now that if you put in a code, you get a bunch of free stuff.
What I got? Baby clowns. I did it again. I bought more things at TEMU. I'm gonna do another haul because last one was too good. Here we are again. So I'm covered in hot with this dress. Y'all, this dress is only $17.
A couple of months ago, Emma came home from school saying, "Mom, all my friends are shopping at TEMU now."
Well, all this stuff is so inexpensive.
I recently ordered from this website called TEMU. The total was $1.55 and I got a lot of things.
$21 knockoff Apple Watches, $38 vintage violins. Yes, these prices were really too good to be true. And yes, average Americans did get a taste of what it was like to not have to worry about money when shopping on TEMU. But how? How did they manage to get these unbelievably low prices with free shipping? One word: slaves.
This is really serious stuff.
Tensions between two Chinese e-commerce giants who are known for selling cheap, really cheap goods.
Fast fashion brands Shein and TEMU raising questions about potential forced labor and the skirting of U.S. import taxes.
They've overtaken the App Store. So if you go in the App Store, they'll be at the top.
Beth Brotherton Bunch with the Alliance for American Manufacturing says if the extremely low prices seem too good to be true, it's because they are. Both apps are owned by Chinese firms.
It's becoming more and more clear that they are reliant on forced labor to make their products.
Brotherton Bunch says most of the apparel stems from the Xinjiang province, an area where the U.S. State Department says there's a genocide happening. Members of the Muslim minority Uyghur population, often forced into prison and labor camps, produce the very goods that enter the U.S. through the apps.
Much like their distant cousin Shein, TEMU also does a lot of business in the Xinjiang province of China. And we all know what happens there, right?
Hundreds of thousands of people from ethnic minorities, including the Uyghur community, are being forced by the Chinese authorities to pick cotton in the far western region of Xinjiang. That's according to information seen by the BBC. The evidence suggests that China's cotton crop, which makes up a fifth of the world's total supply, could be far more dependent on forced labor than was previously thought.
20% of the world's cotton supply is coming from Xinjiang, and cheap brands from all over are reliant on the stuff to be able to keep their crazy low prices. And it's all thanks to a hard-working army of Uyghur Muslim slaves. Ah yes, Americans are so quick to bring up how America used slaves to pick cotton 150 years ago, but those same Americans will gladly look the other way to get their cheap products from Shein and TEMU. The US Department of Labor estimates that there are over 1 million slaves over there right now.
Put the black hood on my face and they put me in this is the interrogation room, and inside the iron cage there's a tiger chair. Your wrist shackled there and your feet also shackled.
He says police accused him of espionage, plotting against the Chinese government, and the crime of separatism, and they demanded a confession.
You just confess. You just admit what you have done. It's good for you.
It's estimated that at least 100,000 of those slaves are currently being forced to work on these labor camps to produce things like cotton for these companies. Just imagine if you had a company with 100,000 employees. Now imagine if you didn't have to pay those 100,000 employees, and they just work for you for free, day and night.
Have found Chinese documents that show more than 500,000 Uyghurs have been coerced into picking cotton in the Xinjiang region. The report says many of the workers come from the vast network of re-education centers that have imprisoned more than 1 million people.
Videos uncovered by the investigative news organization Coda Story also show groups of Uyghurs being sent away. But listen to the soundtrack. a Chinese version of the old Italian freedom anthem, Bella Ciao. These videos are posted on social media by Uyghurs who are not happy to be bused to factories far from home.
It's really troubling is, they call these Uyghur workers batches. They say they have 500 or 300 workers available to be hired in 15 days. They can be delivered within a week or 2 weeks, and then they can withstand hardship, and they promise if you hire these workers, there will be no staff loss.
No wonder they can sell this alluring fishnet lingerie set for 78 cents. And the stuff that's happening to these prisoners in the name of cheap products for Westerners is absolutely sickening.
China calls them thought transformation camps built to prevent extremism from spreading, but reports indicate they're more like prisons.
So the new evidence really shows that this is a campaign to break a people. It's, after all, most likely the largest incarceration of an ethno-religious minority since the Holocaust. So we can no longer say business as usual.
Now, for the very first time, CNN has spoken to a former Chinese police officer who claims his job was to arrest and extract confessions from ethnic Uyghurs in Xinjiang.
Some cops would play the good cops, and some would play the bad cops. After we beat them, we'd offer them a cigarette.
Did you have to be the bad cop sometimes?
Of course.
Anyone who could not memorize a book of slogans and the rules within 14 days would be denied food or beaten.
She tells us about the cruel conditions in the camps, about torture and humiliation.